Entrepreneurship has got a very simple definition: formulating and validating a new value equation. I think almost all students, they are basically focusing on what they want to do. We say that entrepreneurship is a coin, and a coin has two sides. So you have got the first side, that is what you want to do, but the second side is for whom. I don't believe that only engineering institute should pursue entrepreneurship, education or ventures. I think it's up to all of us. Even I think some of the social or cultural programs can also lead to entrepreneurship.
Hello and welcome to everyone to this interaction with Professor Anand. This is a special episode on Guest Cloud, which aims to bring in insights from ecosystem experts, specially aimed at informing the student entrepreneurs, the enablers in the Indian student entrepreneurship ecosystem, and ultimately with a goal of enabling student entrepreneurship in India. So we formally welcome Professor Anand Kusre to this interaction. Professor, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Professor Anand has a long-standing work history of in the banking sector, followed by about 2 decades in the student entrepreneurship ecosystem, very specifically and largely with the Indian startup ecosystem. He was the founding faculty who led the setting up of Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay, initially a center, later converted into a school. He currently is with more than 250 startups, I'm told, that he's advising on the boards, etc. He also is on several high-powered committees, task forces, and other initiatives which are enabling the entrepreneurship ecosystem in the country. Professor Anand, thank you very much for being here on this interaction with us today. If you would like to say a few words.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to join you.
Thank you. So, Professor Anand, we will have the three broad segments in this interaction, also for the convenience of audience. We will address the student audience. We will address the institutional administrators who are trying to set up entrepreneurship focused programs. And finally, the teachers who will deliver these programs. So there are insights which I intend to bring out from, by picking your brains from your experience. So there are three segments. And we will begin with the first segment, which is taking the design thinking approach. Let's focus on the user. Let's focus on the customer, the ultimate audience, the student. That is the central focus of Guess India initiative. So, in your 2 decades of working with the student entrepreneurs as a teacher, as an enabler, as a board member, as a faculty, what has changed in terms of your perception or your hypothesis of how does a student think? So in the beginning, when you would have started all this initiative of teaching entrepreneurship and then starting a school, designing a curriculum, to now having enabled it, having seen it through, and now seeing the outcomes, what was your perception about student entrepreneurs, and now how has it changed?
Yeah, I think it has, of course, evolved over the years. And of course, it happens, doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in a setting. And the setting is both, I think, global and national at the Indian level. And I think the students are, of course, always looking at studying, getting feedback from their seniors, what's happening. So there have been phases, as you are aware of it, in the students post their education, what they would do and pursue, whether they would be, I think, immediately taking jobs or taking further studies, further research. And they are all driven by the movements in the economy and the society. So those things are definitely happening. And I think the changes in the Indian economy in the last decade of the last century, and plus the global changes post the mid 90s and early 21st century, I think they had a massive impact on the economy, on the type and profiles of the jobs that are available, the actual job content, and to the extent that the students could think and actually do that, what they learn, to what extent they would be able to exploit that, if I put it crudely. And so those are other various factors which I think are very critical. And we did see that the especially though Infosys was set up in the 80s, I think we saw that after the 90 decade, the Indian startups really started growing. And some of those were, of course, set up by our own alumni. IIT Bombay, I think, has featured prominently in the startup map, both of of the Indian situation, and also USA and other, especially USA. So I think the students always are able to establish links, find out, and so it gave us that. And we also have our School of Management, so we also could see the changes in the structure, and we had already introduced courses in innovation entrepreneurship in the School of Management.
Yeah,
So I think those things were really constantly giving us the feedback and the knowledge and the status about how the students are perceiving and how they are pursuing these activities.
sure, sir. Sir, there are about 5,000 students who have taken all the courses that were offered through the Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship. And there are more than 100 students who have become entrepreneurs, taken the venture to the real world. So I wanted to understand, and there is this guest survey where we understood in 2023 that 14% of Indian students in higher education institutions, all types of institutions, and this is based on a sample of about 13,000 students. 14% students say that on graduation, I want to become an entrepreneur. And then if you say, okay, after 5 years of graduation, where do you see yourself? Then 31% of them say entrepreneurship. I will
Yeah.
be an entrepreneur for sure. So in your experience, now you started this school in 2014, I believe, but you were teaching entrepreneurship before that in 2008 as well, while you were in industry and with the School of Management at IIT Bombay. And the whole Startup India movement started in, I think, 2016 with Startup India initiative of the government. And since then, there is no looking back. We are now the world's third largest startup ecosystem. So my question is the mindset shift from I want to, and typically at an IIT and IIT Bombay, the packages, the cost to companies that are offered to the students, JE qualified, right, top rankers, typically they look for jobs, and maybe this is the expectation that the family has from them. So shifting towards entrepreneurship, I want to become an entrepreneur. How did you see that? Did you have this challenge of initially students not taking the course and then gradually students moving towards taking an elective and then thinking about entrepreneurship as a career option? What was your experience?
No, I think we had a very positive response right from uh, the time we set up the school. So I think that has been very positive. And as you rightly say, I think we make it a point. We do not insist that students take the course and become entrepreneurs. I think that is not at all the approach that the school or IIT Bombay takes.
Mhm.
Our approach in getting them into the school programs and courses is that they should be innovative and entrepreneurial. We don't want it to become day one that you pass out and set up your venture. That is not approach at all. We want them to have their understanding of what the business, what the industry, what the global economy is today, how it is shaping, how it is shifting, and for them to understand that, and what is the role innovation entrepreneurship are playing in that. And depending on their situation, their requirements, they get the additional inputs from the school, and it is totally up to them. And it is absolutely quite right if they want to work in a industry, work in the area of their interest and develop expertise and knowledge, and then think of going for the entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
What we want to give them is basically to offer them a nurturing atmosphere, that whatever the questions, whatever the issues that they feel, they should be able to put them across and get as reasonably proper and correct answers to them. In fact,
Yes.
I would suggest that the whole objective of setting up the School of Entrepreneurship, when we set up the School of Entrepreneurship, we said that we are here because anybody on the campus at IIT Bombay, whether faculty or student, if they want to be entrepreneurial, we will help them or find help for them. That
Yeah.
is the objective of the School of Entrepreneurship, because we
Okay.
will be able to help them all the time. But if even if we are not able to help them, we will definitely find ways and find the sources which would help them. That is the objective of the school.
So, sir, if you rewind back to 2014-15, in the beginning when the
Uh,
courses launched, now I'm thinking from the viewpoint of a student. When a student is thinking, should I take this course? When they came to you, they must have discussed, right? What is in the course? Should I take it? So, what are they thinking will happen after this? What are, there are different sides to it. One is internally they're thinking, what will happen to me? Secondly, then they have a peer group. So, is my friend also taking this course or no? Or then
yes.
their family, or what is happening in the institute. So, what questions would they ask you? I'm trying to paint a persona of a student who is trying to
Yeah.
take the entrepreneurship course.
Yeah. One is, of course, there are some students who have that desire right from beginning, that I want to do something on my own. I want to do something myself. So
Mhm.
those are definitely the students who come and right from day one, they are working with some specific objective in the mind.
Mhm.
There are a lot of students who are more curious, or we find that this is something happening, and there is a trend and there is a wave on this, and they see this and they would like to know about that. That is there. But actually, even without all those things, even if there is a general student, he or she today comes to know that no matter whatever they are going to do, and even it's a corporate job or any job, even if they go for that, and either at the interview level or at the actual job level, having the entrepreneurial and innovative mindset will be appreciated and would be rewarded.
Mhm.
So I think that's a uh, major quantum shift that has happened in among all the students. Whether they become entrepreneur or they set up their own is a very different thing. But
Yeah.
whatever they are going to do, and whatever job or corporate or any other setup they are going to be in, they would be benefited by having these learnings and inputs of innovation and entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So even, it helps in CV building exercise. A course, a product that you build, a prototype that you build, it'll build in more.
And some of them would actually get a degree, and they
Yeah.
will say
Yeah, of
BTech
course.
in entrepreneurship. Those who are really keen and they want to do that. So we
Yeah.
offer that entire spectrum. So
Mhm.
whatever type of students and to what extent he or she wants to imbibe or partake from this, that menu is there for them. That's the
Mhm.
way the school has been set up.
Sure, sir. So, sir, my next question is, although we offer a program on entrepreneurship, it begins with an elective. right? Typically, it's an elective program. You have the STEM field where science, mathematics, the basic courses are introduced compulsorily. So my question is, should entrepreneurship be by choice? Or should we design it into the system saying it's one of the compulsory courses? Entrepreneurship is not only about starting a venture, it's a life skill. You need to learn this. So what is your opinion on that? Should this become a compulsory course?
No, I think it should be left as a choice. And we started as a choice. And but the result and the response we got, so the response became, I think, so difficult because starting with 100 was okay, but then 200, 300, that became difficult. So now it is students' response has made it now that IIT Bombay now the 101, the entrepreneurship 101 that we offer is now taken by all the BTech first year students.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it has become a student's course. So all students of IIT Bombay in their first year, they take the entrepreneurship 101, and
So it's a,
subsequently it is up to them to decide to take more courses or go
okay.
for further.
So that's a good proxy for a for gauging students' interest, saying please make it mandatory for everyone. Okay, that's great. So another question is around students trying to become entrepreneurs. Now you said the intent is not to make everyone an entrepreneur, sure, but as a student, what is going on in my mind? I don't have any resources. I'm in first year, second year, third year. I've just cracked JEE and I've entered the IIT or any educational institution. I have nothing with me. I just took an education loan for all we know, right? And now I'm thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, no resources. So, how have you seen students navigate this question in their mind? Oh, I have a loan, I have expectations from my family. Should I take the course? Yeah, that's just a course. But then, should I take the leap into becoming a founder? Have you seen students, have students deliberated with you on this and how do they navigate
Yeah,
this?
of course, of course, of course. Definitely, that is the situation, and each student is in a specific case. So it depends on their background, their requirements, where they are from, what are their some of them students want to study further. So obviously, or some of the students have got some interest which may not come immediately through entrepreneurial venture. So all those things are there. So basically, what we do is basically, I think, as we all know, we all use the metaphor of a living organism for
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, as you know that the seed and the incubation and growth and harvest and all. So you can see that it's a very common metaphor for the entrepreneurial activity. So we told them, you are at this stage. So maybe there is a seed or seedling there. So give a try.
Mhm.
To this, if you add this during the first year or 2 year you are herein, let's see what happens. If it is showing some growth, it is showing some result, it's showing something, then you can take a call or you can ask a question. Is it worth it? Or after 2 years of spending? I think the best thing that happens at IIT Bombay or any academic school, of course, is that it gives you a sandbox, it gives you a platform, it gives you something to try without getting injured or damaged.
Mhm. Right.
Our idea in these couple of years that they are here, especially third and fourth year, because first and second year, of course, is not that this thing advanced stage or that critical. But in the last 2 years, definitely. So we give them that I think uh, trial situation that you take a jump, you find this out, you work out, you talk to the mentors with whom we can connect, you understand, as you rightly said, the resources, the
Mhm.
quantum and the extent, whether it is something going to be workable or there are other supports which are available. like whether we have got these all these now new uh, EIR and the POC and all, lot of DBT and Government of India support startup. So we make them aware of them and even make them available. In fact, I can tell you that every year, I think maybe more than dozen students would be getting whilst they are still studying in the school, they will get this support from this government or other programs.
Yeah.
So basically what we provide them is basically an atmosphere where they can jump and try and work. And
Right.
then they can make a call. It's up to them.
Mhm.
And even if you want to take, because after graduation, it might take 2 to 3 years at least to reach a level where I think they can
Right.
now see that this is what's happening. So we make them fully aware of all these situation and issues, and basically guide them or nudge them to make a call. We never, I think, put them that this is what we should do or this is the current trend and AI project or AI venture has got a massive scope or something. We never do that. We
That's
essentially put them into this. Yeah.
great. Thanks, Professor. I think that's an interesting insight for all of us that we are through education, we are
Yeah.
not trying to force students into entrepreneurship. We are trying to give them a sandbox environment,
Yeah.
make them aware that there is a support system available.
Yeah.
And they can take the call given all the resources. So essentially, institutionally, we are bridging that gap of lack of resources so that
Yeah.
student does not have to worry about that.
Yeah.
My final question on this segment, where we are discussing the student entrepreneurs, is that so in this sandbox environment, what is one thing, what is one attitude, one habit, one way of thinking that you would suggest the students to change if they are driven to become an entrepreneur, but they are practicing a certain habit which is hampering them? What would that be?
I think the most important thing for the students and what we try to help them is, I think almost all students, they are basically focusing on what they want to do.
Hmm.
And this is what my interest is, this is what I understand, this is what my knowledge is, this is I'm studying or whatever it is, this is there. So basically, most of the students' activities are what based. So at earlier stage, we say that exactly, that's excellent, very good. This is what you want to do. But we say that entrepreneurship is a coin, and a coin has two sides.
Yes.
So you have got the first side, that is what you want to do. But the second side is for whom.
Mm. Right.
So we tell them that this is great, this is what you want to do, whether it is AI based some prediction model or whatever it is, excellent, no problem, you do it. But ask immediately the question that for whom? That if this is what you are going to do, for whom it is going to be beneficial, for whom it's a right now a burning problem, a
Yeah.
critical problem. So
Yeah.
immediately start working on that.
Yeah.
So our first inputs to them is encourage what, but combine that what with for whom. And for that, we have got, of course, our own senior students mentors or our own alumni mentors or experts available from outside. So in fact, we have got a program called Ideas Program, which is
Right.
available for all the students of IIT Bombay.
Mm.
And that goes over a period of 2 semesters. And in the first semesters, they come with the idea, and that idea is turned into some basic concept. And in the second semester, that basic concept is made into something tangible with customer input. So, and for that, even if they require to spend money for that, in terms of doing some trials, requiring materials, or going to customers and talking to them. So I think up to a couple of lakhs is available as a grant from IIT Bombay for them. So we essentially want to ensure that the what is very good
Right.
combined with for whom and tell us where you are now.
Right. Great, sir. I think that's a first principles approach to building a venture for students who are
Yeah.
listening in. What combined with for whom it's important. And taking the same approach, we are attempting this interaction as well. We said for whom? For students, what are the takeaways? And that's what we did in this first segment of interaction. Professor, now I would shift to the second segment, which is, the institutions. Now, from an institution's vantage point, starting a school on entrepreneurship, we're trying to make students aware, you said. We're not trying to force students to become entrepreneurs. Uh, Traditionally, academic institutions have trained the students to go into job market, different types of job market by skilling them up, by building their personalities. And now we have the same educational institutions with same ethos, same direction, same culture, right? Now we are trying to, although make students aware, but somewhere our intention is to build more, get more entrepreneurs for our country to create more jobs. So how do you think this new version of academic institutions where we have now School of Entrepreneurship, where we are saying it can be taught, right? So, how are we adjusting as academic institutions to entrepreneurship programs instead of making people employable?
I think it's. I think we do understand that the School of Entrepreneurship is only one element in the innovation and innovation ecosystem on the campus, and the ecosystem at IIT Bombay is, of course, very varied and very vibrant. And our approach is that the student should play a very important role in that. We don't say that this is what we give you. I think
Mhm.
we tell the students that you need to create or you need to make this ecosystem uh, very useful, very fruitful, and it is students who play a large role in the entrepreneurship ecosystem on the campus. I would just give you an example of that. One is that, and these are all student-led, student-centric. We are only there as, I think, a little bit advice if required. We come as faculty, but otherwise, they are all student-led and student-centric initiatives. So the IIT Bombay, there are various things. One is that we have got a Tinkerer's Lab, a
Right.
24/7 lab where any student of the institute, whatever they want to do, they can do anytime. It is completely student managed. The time allotted is by students, the equipment taken is by students, everything is by students. So there is a Tinkerer's Lab, which is a very important element in helping students to experiment and try out things. As I always told you that we don't want something just at the idea stage or just imagination. Whatever student doing, we want that to be very specific. So a Tinkerer's Lab is an important element in that. Again, apart from Tinkerer's Lab, there are other initiatives. There are centers like we have recently set up a couple of years back, C Minds. This is a new center for machine learning and AI.
Mhm.
So there are projects into that center. So the faculty wants to take up new activities where any student from the institute can become part of that project. So they become part of that. Or there is a Tata Center for design. So if they are developing something which is more frugal innovation or cost-effective innovation, there are availability of students to take part in that. Then there is a very vibrant e-cell at IIT Bombay, the entrepreneurship cell. So it is entirely managed by students. Hundreds of students take part over the year in that e-cell activity, which is climaxed by e-summit every year in the end of January. I think that e-summit today, perhaps at IIT Bombay, is the largest and most, I think, recognized e-summit, not only in India, but even in Asia, one could say that.
Right.
So, and everything is, it's a 2 days or 3 days program where students organize everything,
Yes.
including events and the faculty and the speakers and all. So we encourage students to do everything and say that it is you who is working on the system and creating the system. So even if you say that out of 3,000 UG students, 200 or 300 students are working on that, 1% of the students, I think that's a very big chunk. And
Right. Right.
they working with the, I think with their classmates, their hostel mates, I think it becomes, I think, propagation of this.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. Then we arrange every year Tech Fest. That is new technology based product design that the students do as part of their education. There is
Mhm.
platform for them to display and show it every year. So it's annual event. So that is available. And then, of course, the hackathons, accelerators, which you organize. So we want it to be very student oriented. So that I want to highlight that it is not something we give. I think it is jointly worked upon and created with the students. And
It's not just a
yeah,
single center at one place. There are several other initiatives or bodies which
that's
are
right. Yeah.
system for to
Several
thrive.
initiative of different degree of work required over different period of times.
Yeah, right. So let's zoom into the program. So back in 2015, when the Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship, Center for Entrepreneurship was started,
Yeah.
you must have had to put together a curriculum,
Yes.
had to design the course structure, you had to bring in instructors.
Yes.
So how, tell us some stories from that era.
Okay.
There
I
certain
think,
which
yeah,
you program,
yeah,
but then when action takes place, how do you make
yes.
sure action
Yeah.
is also aligned
I
with the
think when we started the courses, I think we started the first course, but then we realized that within couple of years or the maximum 3 years, we need to have the full curriculum which would be required, both as the relevant course structure framework for a student to pursue entrepreneurship, and also to those students who want to get a degree in entrepreneurship as the academic part, both things should be there. So we structured the curriculum in such a way that available about dozen programs for the students covering the entire spectrum of innovation and entrepreneurship, right from idea to the enterprise creation. And what we did essentially was twofold. One is that being again at an Institute of Technology student, we'll say that we mentioned that they need to create something. So the our objective was that the courses would help them to create something and make something. And so that's why we call what we call the LML approach. That is learn, make, launch. So
okay.
the program, the courses that we are giving combined with the ecosystem at the IIT Bombay campus should be able to make you that you learn, make and launch. So that is
Mm.
the, I think, first critical part that the school decided, that it will not be courses just giving all the inputs and knowledge and all, which will of course be required, but the whole vision and framework would be that the students who will take this course should be able to learn, make and launch. So for that, we essentially design the courses, an introduction to the courses like 101, and then how things happen. And so that we also created a setup at the institute that we not only started giving courses, we set up what we call Ignition Studio. This is what is called a proof of concept facility for our students. So when the student learn and in each course, whatever course they are taking, even this introduction course, they have to have a project and they have to have output. And
Okay.
as they progress, the output has to become more and more concrete.
So, sir, in this minor program which you mentioned, can you
Yeah.
give us an overview, 30,000 feet view, saying first core is Entrepreneurship 101. You mentioned ideas program, you mentioned LML approach, you mentioned
Yes. Yeah.
video. Can
Yeah.
one by one, first year they take this, second year they take
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. I will come to that. So we start with the innovation and entrepreneurship. That is the 101. That is the first introduction program. And then we offer them program on innovation and creativity.
Okay.
So how really I think one can think in a different way and do that. Then we offer them in the first year POC 1, that is
Okay.
proof of concept 1. So they have to make the initial basic POC on their idea. In the next semester, then they go for making the learning about the business, learning about marketing, learning about IP, learning about the business models and value propositions and those. And based on that, they go into the POC 2. So that is where they actually create maybe a tangible product or service that they want to do. And then there is a capstone course called Technology Venture Creation. So
Okay.
that course really, I think, takes all their prior work they have done, and based on that, they then offer that this is what they have come to this level or situation, and with several inputs from both internal and external mentors and experts. So that is what I think it spread over that way. Plus, we also offer important things like IP management, resources planning. So those also are when actually a venture has to be created, what we require, that also is given. That is there.
So, sir, through this value chain from Entrepreneurship 101 to the Capstone project, I'm imagining that this is across the 4 years of their BTech program.
Yeah,
Yeah. So from first year to fourth year, sustaining that enthusiasm. So I don't know whether they begin with a lot of enthusiasm and then it reduces by the time they are in fourth year and they start focusing on job, or whether it is less earlier and then gradually it builds up when they go to maybe POC one course where they have to build something,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
How have you seen the interest levels go up and down across the 4 years?
Yeah, I think it depends. It's a distribution. It depends on the individual students and his or her profile and what is interesting them, what is that. It could happen that they did work on the POC 1, but they feel it is not really up to the
Mhm.
mark, or they're not, this is not something they can pursue or something, and they can drop it. So there is
Mhm.
absolutely no issue on that. We never insist that they must do this or they must, once they started, they must continue. They can stop the courses from entrepreneurship school anytime they want. Maximum, of course, they will do is that they will take the full credit and get their degree. That is there. I think one thing I would like to mention, I think very clearly, I think we tell the students, I think there are lots of definition of entrepreneurship, and you are well aware of that. But we tell our students that for you and for this program, and as long as you are here in IIT Bombay, entrepreneurship has got a very simple definition. That is formulating and validating a new value equation. That is
Okay.
our definition of entrepreneurship.
Okay. New
So,
value.
of course, the beginning was, as I told you, what and for whom. But by the end of fourth year, by the end of their living, if they have created a venture, if they have studied the program and they got what is required, they had done this, formulated and validated a new value equation. That is for us the entrepreneurship.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So, another connected question, you mentioned that there are several different bodies that promote entrepreneurship, that give students the opportunity to do something, build something. Now, with respect to the incubation center specifically, we have signed at IIT Bombay.
Yeah.
Now, were there formal channels for the BTech entrepreneurship minor students to go into
Yes.
incubation centers?
Uh,
Were the entry barriers similar to anyone else and also the BTech minor students? How did we create an exclusive pathway for
yeah.
them to go to higher levels?
Yeah. I think the school is essentially a pre-incubation phase for the
Okay,
student.
okay.
That if they really did what I mentioned to you, that if they could make a proof of concept, if they could at least some degree validate that this is the value that is coming up, I think
Mhm.
that prepares them in the pre-incubation phase of going into incubator, which is a formal incubator of sign. So it becomes for them, I think, much easier. They are already in the groove of things. They know what's happening, what is there. And by the time they enter the incubator, I think they are more customer focused, more market oriented, more product development ready situation, which they can then pursue at the incubator level. I think one point I want to add here, I think is very important, as I mentioned to you, like the various other programs and students are like I mentioned about the biomedical, about the Tata Center, about the C Minds, the AI business. I think one thing I want to share with you is that the faculty that we have got for this, I think I mentioned just to you briefly about the core faculty, but I
Yes,
think
sir.
the faculty that the school draws upon is the core faculty, which is the full-time faculty employed and introduced at the School of Entrepreneurship itself. But very importantly, it is supported and strengthened by first is the associate faculty. It is
Mhm.
the faculty at IIT Bombay itself, which which will take part of the course content from that. That is, if there is a faculty in biosciences, or if there is a faculty in metallurgy. So if they are doing something very novel and developed, so we invite some of these faculties to take part of the program in this. Like I
Okay.
said, there is a course on innovation. So if there
Mhm.
is something innovative happen, so that will be there. Or
Okay.
faculty, of course, there is a faculty from School of Design who
Mhm.
take part of the courses. So there is a associate faculty which is part of the IIT Bombay faculty itself, but they will take this. Or sometimes what we do, we tell our students that there is a course like this course in electrical engineering that
Mhm.
is on the chip design or whatever it is. So
Okay.
there are dozen courses from all the departments of the institute. And we say that if you take any one of these course and supplement that with this, supplement it with the courses you have taken at the School of Entrepreneurship, it will
Mhm.
qualify for you for getting your BTech degree.
Okay. Okay.
So we identify best of the new courses which are coming across the institute, and some of which will be very attractive and useful for students. So they can
Yeah.
take that. So that
Okay.
is very important. So that does two things. One is
Mhm.
that gives the students access to the best of the courses at the institute. And a student who is already taking that course, for them it becomes a starting point and he can take other courses at the School of Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That way it helps student both ways, and that
Right.
I find has been very
Yeah.
important, very useful. So that is
That,
number one.
that's
So,
academic innovation.
yeah, yeah,
As academics or in the institutions, we
that
also
is, yeah.
creating opportunities for students. Yes, sir. Continue. You had a second point.
Yeah. The second is the actually full-fledged adjunct faculty. That
Yeah.
means we get the experts which are in the business and industry and appoint them as adjunct professor and
Mhm.
tell them to take lot of courses. So I will just tell you, give you an example that we have got Vinay Davodkar, our computer science graduate in the 90s, and he's of course working in industry, and he set up his own startup, and now he is on his own. So Vinay is adjunct faculty. He is also author of those innovation books and all. So
Mhm.
Vinay is appointed full-time adjunct faculty at this school, and he
Okay,
takes a course on innovation
I see.
that is there. Or we have got Dr. Hirwani, who is in charge of this CSIR IP
Mhm.
management unit,
Okay.
and he takes a course on IP at this. So we
Mhm.
identified some of the best across the country who are very knowledgeable and who are very practically oriented. And so
Mhm.
they are appointed adjunct faculty and they take courses as part of the faculty for the School of Entrepreneurship.
Right.
Uh, the last is very important that I initiated and got approval of our IIT and Board of Governors for the first appoint Professor of Practice at IIT Bombay.
Okay.
So these are, of course, very senior people who have been CEOs or MDs in
Mhm.
some of the best institutes or best companies, organizations. And then they joined IIT Bombay as full-time faculty, except that they might not have been PhD or conventional faculty requirement of IIT Bombay, but by
Right.
experience, by expertise, they are outstanding. So
Mhm.
we started this. I got this approved, and we appointed the directors. So just to example, one of the examples is Rajesh Gopinathan, who was the CEO of TCS.
Mhm.
He has
Right.
joined as the professor of practice at IIT
Okay.
Bombay. So I think
Okay.
this is very critical. The student also know when they are taking that course from Rajesh that we have got a person who has heading TCS for last 10 years and
Yeah.
he is now giving you. So if he's mentoring you or if he's giving you inputs, I think the value is
Yeah.
definitely there. We are aware of that. So
Yeah.
this faculty, I think combination is very important both for because I think it is just not just courses is okay, you can design courses, but who
Right.
use that courses, who delivers them and who supplements and augments them, I think is more important.
Yeah.
So courses comes with this. So I would like to not separate that. I would like to combine faculty and courses together.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's very useful point, sir, for all the faculty who are watching this, or all the administrators in the institutions, leaders, academic leaders who are watching.
Yeah.
They note that it's not just the courses; it's also the faculty that will deliver. And sir, you understood a very important point, which is administrative flexibility. In the beginning, you said early on, DSC was also sort of an enterprise.
Yeah, of
So
course.
is entrepreneurship unless we are enterprising ourselves and bringing in professor of practice, people from industry with no PhD, bringing in the practical experience, which can be much more valuable for venture creation.
Yeah.
So that's very useful insight. So now, sir, we move on to the third segment. We've done the first segment where we focus on the student, the user, and now we've just discussed the institution, which is the provider of the product to the student, product being the program on entrepreneurship. And we have also coincidentally jumped into the third segment, which is the conduit between the program and the students, the messenger, the teacher in the classroom. And you have already highlighted a couple of very useful suggestions on that. So I would take this discussion further about the classroom in the classroom. Now, for IIT Bombay, an established institute, great repo, strong alumni base. You were able to bring in people from TCS, from industry, right? Leaders. Yourself, right? Having spent 30 years in banking, ICICI, and then you came back to your institution, alma mater, and started teaching. There are several other institutions, and we need entrepreneurs to come out of every different institution in the country today, and they'll be of different types. But and you mentioned resource constraint, even at IIT Bombay. So let's try to empathize with other institutions. There are tier one, tier two, tier three institutions. how do we overcome the resource constraint? How do we bring in people from outside? And also, many times you have to rely on a young faculty with no entrepreneurship experience teaching entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
So, how do you see all of this resource constraint? How do we enable entrepreneurship education?
yeah. I think there are, I think say it's an easy thing. We accept it is challenging and it's difficult. But of course, then as I said that with this, we have to face it and we have to work on this. So that is, I think, most of the institutes will have that problem. But I think, as I say, most important thing is the what we are given with. One is, of course, at the macro level, what we are given with. And so, as you say, that startup system from 16, there are so many things happening, and the government is supporting. There are other institutions, there are other agencies and foundations who are supporting. There are great philanthropists, whether it is like Mr. Vadhwani or others who are doing it. So basically, I think whatever institute you are in, I think you need to clearly understand that this is what you are. You as an institute, what is situation? Whether it is even physical, geographical location, that can make a difference. Type of students you are getting, that will make a difference. What type of institute you are you a general institute with all the disciplines, or you are a focused institute into particular discipline? Because I don't believe that only engineering institute should pursue entrepreneurship education or ventures. I think it's up to all of us. Even I think some of the social or cultural programs can also lead to entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
So, but you have to basically look at yourself, you have to assess yourself, and based on that, you have to decide that this is what we are, this is what we are given with, this is the profile we have got, whether of faculty or of students, and then we have to make a call. So, as I
Mhm.
say that, one, of course, much more thing is, it's, as I say that, to some extent, it is easy for some institute might be difficult. But the first thing is that it has to be student focused, student led. I think
Yeah.
that has to be, there is no, I think, top down approach, which I think is going to be very useful. That
Mhm.
we have this, come and take this. I think that is not really going to be much help. So
Okay.
to find out that whatever situation you are in, how do you get the students to be part of this? How they are part of this entire initiative activity? And is there a student interest, or are there ways to create student interest? I think that is number one. If that
Okay.
is not there, and then you are going to throw something or get the faculty from outside and start courses and ask them to come, I think that's
Yeah.
a different approach. So that I think is the number one thing, that your situation and the students you have got, how best we can start getting students involved
Yeah.
in this. And if it comes to that, that it is students who have started the initiative, I think they
Yeah.
would be definitely more keen to
Right.
be a
Right.
part of it and add to that and develop it further. So that's
So
important. Yeah.
student focused is very easy point to see, but what we miss is student led.
Student
Uh,
led is very important. Yeah.
can deliver the point that you raised in the beginning.
Yeah.
What and for whom? So you
Absolutely. Yeah.
that we are going to offer a program, a great program will bring people from outside, but for whom? If the students are not interested, if the students don't take the initiative, and more importantly, if institutions don't give the responsibility, they don't delegate, they don't give enough freedom to the students to
Yeah.
lead such initiatives, it may not work out. And Professor, I'm also reminded of the principles of effectuation, bird in
Ah,
hand, said
yeah. That's right.
put
Yeah.
in hand.
So whatever exactly, as Saraswati says, whatever you have got, you have to start with that. The point is, as I mentioned to you, that we always think that there has to be action. There has to be
Right.
something you do by hand. You can't just, I think, start imagining and just ideas, that is not going to help. So
Uh,
whatever we have got, with that you have to create. Even if
being
you create a first class of just 10 students, I think that's a great start. But
Okay. Another follow-up question on this is, Professor, we can bring in people from outside. Professor of practice,
yes,
we people from industry. You, of course, came from industry as well. Now, let's compare the relevance of theory versus the real, real world advice. Uh, Typically, the theory of learning would suggest that a student in a classroom in that age group would require a structured approach to learning. They would like to put things in different buckets. But if
yeah,
you give them, real world scattered information, they may not be able to make sense of it. So how do you, balance the two? You can bring in people from the industry giving you really practical advice, but
yeah,
maybe may not be able to follow that because it is so haywire or
yeah.
scattered or too advanced for them.
That's right. So I think this is a combination of the curriculum and the pedagogy. So basically, what we believe at our institute, at least, is that the pedagogy we uh, approach or we, I think, follow is that all that we are giving you, that curriculum and courses and this, it has to be immersive, experiential, and activity oriented.
Mhm.
That you are taking this course, but this course is this type, that you will get only maybe 4 credits, and the weekly effort maybe more than 10-12 hours. If that is
Okay.
acceptable to you, join the course. I think we
Okay.
should make it very clear. I think there is no point in doing halfway or not being upfront about it. So you have to make
Mhm.
very clear that this is the program, this is the course, and this is the requirement, and these are the activities. It is an activity-oriented program. It is experiential. It is immersive, and what I think we call in entrepreneurship the 4 phases,
Mhm.
that there will be input in this, which you will get from us in terms of knowledge, in terms of some resources, in terms of certain facilities. So that is the input that is there. But you have to bring out the output. But there
Yeah.
is the output from you, and that output must result in some benefit for somebody.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if that happens, only then you will get the reward.
Yeah.
So we have got this pedagogy of immersive experiential learning, what we call input, output, result, and reward. If this is going to happen, you are definitely going to get both the, I think, benefit in terms of the learning and also in terms of your grade and even in terms of at the highest level in terms of your venture
Yeah.
benefiting from it.
Right.
So
So,
that is
Professor,
the approach. Yeah,
from a student's viewpoint, I am taking courses. I have so much going on in my
absolutely, absolutely right.
courses and my specialization, and then on the side, I'm trying to see if entrepreneurship would work for me,
Yeah,
right? And maybe I have taken all the credits in this semester. Then I am in some sports, some extracurricular. I have
absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
now you're asking me for 10 to 12 hours immersive engagement.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
so how have you seen students balance it, and how have you seen academic institutions enabling it? They have to take all the courses, they have to complete the grades, and so on, and now spend extra hours. So what do they do?
Absolutely. I think numbers speaks for themselves, as you can see that we don't want all students to do that. Each student has to, I think, draw his or her, I think, map and what they want to do.
Yeah.
So I think those students, both by way of actual working on their idea or venture, and those
Mhm.
who want to really learn well and apply maybe after a time phase or a time gap, I think only they should really take it up. So I think it is important that you make it clear. You should not, I think, do halfway And once they have taken the course, and after 1 month, you are telling them that unless you do this, you are not going to get that. So that upfront, I think, is very important that we should do that. And as I say that the numbers speak for themselves. You can see that number of students who complete these courses, those who take at least 8 or 10 courses over 2 to 3 years, I think that has been quite substantial and is
Mhm.
increasing over the year. So,
Yeah.
but important point is that you should not, uh, I think, obfuscate things or not be clear about it. You should be clear about it upfront.
Okay. Yeah. It clearly shows in numbers, as you said, about 5,000 students have taken the
It's up
course.
to them to decide then. Yeah.
Yeah. So out of 5,000, only 100 have gone on to. So it takes a lot of churn.
100 have created venture which are operational. I
Mhm.
don't know, maybe 300, 400 did something, but may not have reached that stage. So
Yeah.
the 100 number I gave you are actually registered operating unit.
Ventures. Yeah. Yeah. And there are several reasons in between where,
Many of them have, yeah, have, I
yeah.
think, started, went some distance, stopped, or went for a job, or whatever it is. There could be several reasons, or failed to create the way they wanted to create that product or service. It's all possible.
So, sir, in this entire journey of first of all choosing to be in a course or in a minor program, and then choosing to actually start building a product and then converting, the role of faculty, people who come to the class and teach, as a teacher, yes, fine, but then as a mentor to them, as a coach, as a trainer, as a guide to them, how do you, what is your philosophy of, mentoring young minds? You have, of course, said we are not pushing you, we are only making you aware. Tell us a little bit more on when they come up with an idea. Do you just shoot it down saying, no, this won't work? Because typically, when you come from corporate, you are very cutthroat and you say this will
Yeah.
work, this will not work. So how do you handle students' crazy ideas,
Yeah.
impractical
I
imagination?
think the other thing I want to share with you is that on the curriculum, courses, and the pedagogy is that what we call the life cycle approach.
Mm-hmm.
Is while the courses have been designed in this way, I think what we do is that each course, I think when they take the course, they know it that this entire life cycle of a venture, that is idea to the enterprise creation or at least reaching market. So how that happens, and each course that they take will have part of that. That is after the 101. So the course on innovation or creativity. So how ideas come about, how ideas should be analyzed, how ideas should be strengthened or discarded. So those things. So, the life cycle from that stage up to this. So at each stage, what we do, we ask them to put their efforts, put their output, but we always have a bank of experts, both within the institute and outside institute, as
Right.
mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And at least if it is a course which will take over 3 or 4 months, there will be at least two intermediate stages
Mm-hmm.
where they will have to uh, submit or present what they have done. And at that stage, there will be assessment and help that, yeah, these are the ideas that you got for this are 1, 2, 3, 4, but the
Mm-hmm.
ideas do not have as much impact producing potential as it should have.
Right.
So this is not going to work, or can you make it better? Or the
Mm-hmm.
idea is very good. Can you add this to that? That will be an input from the mentor and this. So those at least two within the that semester will be counted for their efforts and will go into their assessment for the final course assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we don't want to leave it to them on their own that do everything
Yeah.
and after 4 months come and we'll say that this is bad, this is good, you pass, you fail. That's not the way we have to do that. We need to help them. Some of them could be a team effort, some of them could be individual efforts, but each uh, as I said, in a life cycle. So at that time, so this is what they got. Then
Right.
when they go into this stage of problem solution. The idea
Hmm.
was good, and you have
Yeah.
to now pursue further. So you know that this idea can work on this problem.
Hmm.
And this is the problem that people are having. Parking problem in Mumbai, whatever it is, just to give that.
Sure.
So what is the solution you are going to give?
Yeah.
So then if you come with that, I got this AI-based solution for this, that 15 minutes before he reaches the parking lot, he will know that this is what it is there or not there. Whatever it is,
Right.
just example. So each student team will be working on a specific idea. Then they will reach a stage of problem solution. Then they will go to the actual stage of product market fit.
Mhm.
Then they will say that if I want to really implement this, what I require? I require this type of AI algorithm, or I require this type of hardware or whatever this. And
Mhm.
at the end of this is what I will do. So that's
Sure.
the way that's the life cycle approach, that each, as you develop, that each course will give you those inputs from the uh, selected experts that the school has identified.
So that helps in linear understanding of how venture would go from an idea to, a
Ah,
reality.
mm,
So I'm circling back to the question which I earlier asked. I wanted to know a little bit more about the mentoring philosophy.
yeah.
You have occasions where you had to have some discussions with the student in their personal space, saying, "Sir, I'm thinking whether I should take the plunge. This is my problem. This is my family background. I have an education loan, or all my friends are taking up high-paying jobs. I have a great idea. What do I do?" So, how do you counsel such students?
Yeah, it does happen. And of course, I think it's important because they are at a very sensitive and delicate age. And I think the options are multiple. And especially at IIT Bombay, of course, and any IIT, the students have got possibilities of taking job and working on. So it does happen. In fact, there have been instances where parents have come and met me and said that this is what our son is wants to
Mhm.
do. And I talked to them, and I told them that this is the way he has done. I know him for last 3 years, and this
Yeah.
is what he wants to do. So if he tries, what happens? If he tries and succeeds, what happens? Tries and fails, what happens? So these are the things that will happen, and this is what you need to be prepared for. If that is okay, then we can go ahead. So it does happen, and of course, I think it's important that various options and the situations and the eventualities that could come up. And I think we have to be very, I think, understanding. We have to be, I think, uh, give them the picture. There is nothing can be guaranteed.
Mhm.
But
Right.
yeah, but we can say that even if he does it for 1 year and it doesn't work, what learning is going to be there, and even at that stage, what are the possibilities of his as a career, whether it is going for a second venture or joining some company with this learning background. So I think we need to be very clear about it, and it does happen. And we give, I think, very uh, open,
You,
clear, and frank.
yeah. You're not trying to sell entrepreneurship to them. You're saying
We
here is
don't, yeah.
you decision still, right?
We
Yeah.
don't sell them. We don't tell them that he has spent 3 years now in this school and he must now do this. That is not our approach.
Okay, okay, lovely. So thank you for answering all these questions. We are coming to the end of the third and final segment of this interview, where we had discussion on teachers. To summarize, we had three segments. In my highlight of the first segment was, which was focused on students. What
Yeah,
should they do? That was what and for whom.
yeah,
Often focus on what I'm building, but for whom is what they miss, which is something which is a key takeaway for student audience for this interview. Secondly, for institutions, the most important point that I have underscored is the bird in hand principle. What do I have? Using that, what can I offer? And
yeah.
also, secondly, also very important point is student led, student focused,
Students
institution
on board. Get students on board. Yeah,
with the stakeholder co-creation. That's another
that's
effectuation.
that's right. That's right.
Finally, the teacher in the room, a life cycle approach to curriculum, and then presenting the worldview to the students, bringing the realities and mentoring them in an unbiased manner so that they can take informed decision. These are my highlights from these three
Great.
segments.
I think very well put. Yeah.
It was lovely talking to you. I'm sure the audiences who are viewing this, they'll find great value in learning from your journey and from the journey of the school at IIT Bombay, Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship now. And we hope that the students, the institutions, the educators who are tuning in, they will find a lot of learnings from this and apply in their specific contexts. Finally, sir, before we end, if there is a one single message that you would like to give to the student entrepreneurs or to the educators, a mantra, whatever comes to your mind, like you've already given very, many nuggets of
I think,
information.
yeah, all I can say is that I think there are times for various things, and this generation and all of us we are living now, I think we are extremely fortunate. We are in a time of exciting happenings, great developments, and both physically, financially, and economically, we are in a situation, especially in India, where I think there are lots of possibilities. And if you want to go for it, I think this is the time. And look at all the things, look at what we want, make your own call, give your best. And I think that's all. All the best to you.
Great. Thank you very much. So the time is now. That is the message. India is marching towards becoming a better and bigger startup ecosystem. And it's our youth. We have the largest youth population in the world now. So it's time for our youth to take reins of the entrepreneurial future of the country. As they say, entrepreneurs are the new wealth of the nation. We hope that India will see many more entrepreneurs coming from educational institutions. So with that, Professor Anand, thank you so much for spending time on this. We appreciate you taking time out and actually giving us great many great details of your journey and your inputs for the entrepreneurs and educators in this country. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.